Uh, just quickly, because I was actually asked to look at the implications of the INDCs with the oil and gas sector, and basically this is the determined contributions, the nationally determined contributions, and those are the internationally which we have pledged internationally at the COP21 in Paris in December. So if you were to look at, and going back to that very quick question on what are the good things that have happened, which I did mention very clearly, but I'm saying that the companies did come together before Paris, and we do have this reinforcing India's commitments, which was tabled in Paris, where we had more than 200 companies coming together and understanding what sustainability was, and they shared their best practices, and this publication is on our website. So that's the good part which we had looked at. However, when we are looking at issues with the government, with corporates, it is still compliance driven. Everyone in the corporate sector is very compliant driven, and they're not going beyond compliance. Largely, when you look at beyond compliance and say that be visionary, there is an issue here when it comes through that what is the business benefit, as we had one of my panelists who talked about it. So quickly, I'm not going into INDCs, you would have that all on your websites, but just say, how does this process work? We have, as Government of India, and I can say this because the draft of the INDC was developed by TERI, and two other institutions, which were shared to the Ministry of Environment and Forests, and they then tabled it at the international treaty, as an international treaty. We have national priorities, and we have capabilities and capacities, but it gets funneled into the requirements globally. So we are now very much a global partner to sustainability. There is no more of India saying that we still are a developing country. As far as October 1st, 2015, the moment the INDCs were formed, all of us are bound as much as internationally. So that's just one point that I wanted to raise with you, how this happens. I would not like to look at the factor that India will be looking at is making emission intensity difficult for every segment. It could be the civil society, it could be the business sector, but the business sector is the largest user of energy. So hence, lowering of the energy intensity will be a promise, and it is again coming into a compliance mode. So we need to start waking up to this issue. When you're looking at India's INDC implication, there is just an illustration that the total centralized installed capacity will increase around 5 times the installed capacity, but they will be all largely solar. So it will grow in the solar level. Hence, the predominant conventional fuels will need to look ahead. We will need to see how we want to move forward as far as the predominant conventional fuels which are going ahead, which is coal, oil and gas. And that is why I had come here, because 2 days back we were with GAIL and we had discussed this very observation, and GAIL had a set of their people from across their plants, and we had about 150 people. Many of them had come on through the video conference, and we discussed this issue, and I'm getting this opportunity to share with this group, which is predominantly an oil and gas group. So, which is going to be very important, that all the corporate sectors will need to report, revise their business propositions, and there will be a new regime which will come through. And that is definitely, everyone is working on it, and we definitely know that we have 1.7 gigawatts which will come through clean energy. So as Anirban did talk about clean fuels, that is something that is a must as going forward, and you do have commitments of green fuels in your corporate sector, but there is going to be a little more stricter stipulation in the next 1 year. So we did a quick assessment of business risks and opportunities on climate change and oil and gas. What we are talking about at the moment, and this panel has yet discussed, was the issues that comprise of businesses in your environment. But you know that there is a larger environment which we are unable to control. There is a larger environment, and so IPCC report says that there is going to be extreme events, much, much more than what has happened in the past. And that is what I just wanted to share. You have heard about the flood. I'm not talking about the BP kind of event. British Petroleum did have issues because that was on safety issues, but this is not anything to do with your safety or your health standards or your practices. This is the environment which, as I was telling Anirban, if we do not collectively solve it, we are going nowhere. We have to be actors in ensuring that our environment is protected. So some of them, you had the Chennai Petroleum which shut. If you look at, I'm not going ahead because we had short of time, but saying that look at these were nothing to do with the operations of those plants. It was external environment, and those external environments has been created largely by human involvement. So keeping that, there will be an increased frequency of operations, shutdowns, and you need to see how are you going to vision these kinds of challenges. So we were looking at, if you're looking at the IPCC report, it's increased disruption and production shutdowns, transmission infrastructure at risk. You might be putting up the best and the safest transmission, but a tornado or a flood, you will not be able to protect it, and there are economic risks. And hence, now I would not want to go through this because again, this is something that we have committed to 2 degrees, but soon we will come to 1.5 degree, and if we come to this 5.5 degree limitation, there will be much, much more stringent rules for corporate India. So just quickly, how should oil and gas industry plan for the future? What the sector should be worried about in light of climate change, why and how they stand to benefit, what government policies and geopolitics may require them to do. It's nothing to do with the Indian government too. It will be the geopolitics of the international politics will come. So there is a need to analyze the exposure to climate change implications. There's a forecast, the opportunities that arise for the sector. You have opportunities, and this is what TERI plans and intends to do for the oil and gas sector, and understand the expectations from the sector. So I will leave behind these 3, and I'm not going further on the slides, but this is an important element, and I just thought that now this is the bottom line. Businesses need to necessarily now ponder on the cost of inaction. These are actions which will not give you immediate business benefits, but in the long run, your business can survive only if the ones that you're not acting on, you act on it now. Thank you.